Welcome back to the show. The Golden Queen, Uncle Grandpa Triple, dinner that's now breakfast. I want to know about Pokemon champions. Gillis in the building. No, wait, wrong scene. Better. Yo, still to work. Now activating the Pokemon Champions Overview Trailer. .exe.
Pokemon battles for everyone. Pokemon Champions. This game is all about battles. Compete online against players from across the world with the Pokemon you've recruited. There are two ways to obtain battle-ready Pokemon. The first is by connecting to the Pokemon Home app. Transfer your Pokemon from games in the Pokemon RPG series and the Pokemon Go app to Pokemon Home. Then link the app to this game. The second way is via Recruit. Choose one Pokemon to recruit once per day from a random selection of Pokemon that appear in the game. Recruited Pokemon can only be used in Pokemon Champions for a certain amount of time. After you've gathered your Pokemon, choose 6 of them and form your team. Before battle, you'll be able to see your opponent's team and vice versa, and choose the Pokemon you want to use for the impending match. Consider which Pokemon your opponent will use. Then select your own Pokemon to start the battle. Players alternate turns with moves. Win by reducing the HP of all your opponent's Pokemon to 0. If you're in a bind, you can swap one Pokemon for another. Or use Mega Evolution to power up your Pokemon. The decisions you make could influence the tide of battle. With Mega Evolution, certain Pokemon will gain abilities brand new to the series. There are also different battle formats. Use one Pokemon at a time in single battles, or have Pokemon fight 2-on-2 in double battles. There are 3 different online battle modes. In ranked battles, test your skills against evenly matched trainers and aim for the highest rank. In casual battles, wins and losses aren't recorded, so you can enjoy matches however you'd like. And in private battles, create a room and battle against anyone with the room ID. There are also in-game online competitions in which you'll battle with preset rules that change every season. Engage in battles to earn victory points or VP. Here's how to use VP. You can swap the moves a Pokemon can learn, change its nature, modify its abilities, and more. The stat points of a Pokemon can also be adjusted. For example, you could increase attack and speed to boost offense. Or raise HP and defense to withstand attacks. Pokemon can be easily trained to your liking, so try out different ways to battle. You can only recruit once per day, but by using VP, you can recruit multiple times. Keep in mind that recruited Pokemon are only available for 1 week, but with VP, any recruited Pokemon will be permanently added. In the shop, spend VP to purchase held items or Mega Stones for your Pokemon. You can also get clothing and looks for your trainer, different Pokeball throwing styles, and battle music. A world of fierce battles with your Pokemon awaits! Pokémon Champions. Available April 8th on the Nintendo Switch system.
Bring it back to me. Um, where's my telephone? Here is my telephone. I need to check something really quickly before we get up out of here, children, because I remember hearing something and I don't want to misquote the things that I've heard. So we're going to double check. We're going to double check. Give me a moment. Yeah, because I remember hearing that this was a free to start game. So let's talk about this real quick because there are some things that I appreciate about its ultimate weird loop into keeping you playing, right? So I don't think that there are going to be very many people who are going to approach this game that do not have Pokemon home in some way. Because it's like I don't think it's gonna be a lot of people being like, I'm playing Pokemon Champions just to play it without the whole majesty of bringing your gang through and running fools. Just is what it is. So in that, I will say this: I get it now. It sucks, but I get it. It sucks, but I get it. At the same time, getting all of those things together, and now I'm talking and I'm not giving you context. Here's the context. I would love to import my old Pokemon into Coliseum and Gale of Darkness and Stadium and stuff like that, but that's why Champions is here. That's literally the whole point. Now, would some transparency have been nice years ago when I'm sitting up here looking like, yeah, y'all should do that. That would be dope if we coming with something. Because that would have kept me from sitting up here being like, why won't you? Even though the truth is, because we talking on the side, you can. We've had this conversation before. You can import your Pokemon into Pokemon Stadium on the Switch if you hack that mug. So that's the thing. I'm saying it out loud. Nintendo, whatever. It just is what it is. It's the truth. I can't hide from that, and I'm not gonna dodge that. Getting back to the point, because I've strayed way off into the desert from a grass road. The loop, right? Again, from the top. Most people on approach of Pokemon champions without having their own Pokemon to import. Now, questions that didn't get answered because I'm gonna go back on the door road again is a Pokemon you get with victory points in Pokemon champions or Pokemon that you edit with the special tool or whatever, or you able to port those into home and then port those Pokemon into games that can accept them? Because again, if the assumption is that's something you can do, I'm not assuming that you're gonna be able to take a Pokemon from Champion and port it back to home and then send it backward. And by backward, I mean games that have preceded your whatever. So we talking about you might be able to transport things into Scarlet and Violet, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? XA, you know what I'm saying? Arceus, things of that nature. You might be able to do all that. Maybe. But it'll be interesting to see if you can. Back to that loop we keep leaving off. Understanding and knowing that because this is a free to start game, the loop is you win, you get Pokemon to keep. If you're on the loop backwards, maybe that incentivizes you to go out here and go buy Z to A. Because I probably think that's probably the best amalgam to what Pokemon Champion is trying to do and what Z to A is and trying to like get into that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this might make you pick up Pokemon Go again. Excuse me. Maybe that make you want to pick up the Scarlets and the Violets and the whatnots or whatever. I think a free to start model was probably the best way to approach this. That's just me. Actually, hold that thought. Illumination. No. Illumination? Illumination. None of this work. Why don't they work? This is too bright. This is kind of dark. You can't see my black eyes. And now you can't really see my black ass. Live TV, baby. That is kind of dope. Being in shadows and whatnot. Okay, I like this. Y'all can see Squishy and Squeak K. It's important. But live TV. Anyway, as I was saying, that's an interesting loop that they've chosen. That you either coming in here like how Pokemon Stadium used to be, because the reason why I love Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 so much about what they meant to me when I was coming up in there, like Pokemon Stadium was your showcase for all your hard work. All the hard work you did at school when you weren't supposed to have it. At home when you probably shouldn't have been playing it the way you was playing it on the toilet because you just had a prayer called a Pokemon while you was doing the do. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. And when Pokemon Stadium came out and the transfer pack actually fucking worked and didn't erase your fucking save data, that was your showcase to be. Here is my gang. I'm bringing the squad through. Run some fades. I'm glad Pokemon Champions is hopping straight to run a fade. Like I'm finna bring over my squad. Run the fade. Now, here's the thought I just had. Again, and this is just me. This more likely than not was literally created for the professional scene. Because see now you ain't linking gangs together. They probably gonna require you to have some kind of Pokemon home because it'll be easier to run a tournament if you're importing your own Pokemon. Now, I equally at the same time can see how much of a logistical nightmare that can actually be. But if they sitting up here local wirelessly making you bring your switch to the John and you locking your switch into the John and it's going like that. Now that could work wonders because if you bring in your own switch, your Pokemon from home, Pokemon champions, boom. Look, we finna lock in two switches, we finna get them locked up, and you can control that madness. Which means that literally expands the what, why, and how you can do in the competitive nature scene. You know what I'm saying? So the leveling up and the mixing of your Pokemon, the changing their natures and all that kind of crazy shit, if it's actually legal, could do wonders for how Pokemon is displayed on a wide grand ass stage. So we'll see about all of that. This gonna be dope as fuck. Like when they finally set up for a show what champion was, and I'm like, yo, it's the stadium that I wanted. I'm like, I'm for all the action, bro. I'm ready to import all my mods. I'm ready to literally. Now I don't normally get online. I don't do that, but I will break your ass off. Don't come, you boy, cause I break your ass off. I ain't nothing else to do. I break your ass off with this ass whooping. Well, we'll see about that. But look, I am for the action. The ACTION, the action. This gonna be dope as hell. So come on next week. So I'll be watching and I'll be playing and we'll see what they do. Another Pokemon news. I still have not played Pokopia yet, and I wanna. But if you're like me and you waiting to play Pokopia, might I suggest this game called Dragon Quest Builders? Yes, it is Minecraft plus Dragon Quest, but it's Dragon Quest, my boy. So you know what I'm saying, you get on that, family. Swear to God, like yo, Dragon Quest Builders was one of the most fun experiences I've had in video gaming in a very long time with both games. So I will easily suggest playing those games on your own or playing those games with someone you care about because it's something fun about the whole thought process of going through the story and sitting there learning about people and building shit. You know what I'm saying? Traveling new worlds, killing things and building shit. So it is what it is with that. No, I did not buy Fire Red or Leaf Green. I wasn't gonna. At some point, if I got like $20, well, 40 because I'm gonna buy both versions because streets found the way to trade with yourself. So you get all the starters and you do all the extra stuff. So there are ways around if you have because my understanding is you need two switches for that. That if you have two switches and you playing around with NSO and save data, you could clone Pokemons and crazy stuff like that. I've heard the rumors, but I ain't kept up with it. So who knows if Nintendo them passed the John? I have no idea. So yeah, I ain't get it. I wanted to. I really did. And I was just kind of like, I own that. It's like, it again, I'll say if we get up out of here. When it comes to these retro re releases, even though I do a lot of book reports on them, a lot of these games, nigga, own in real life. So it's kind of hard to like re justify something that I can just reach in a box and play if I want to. But some of them are worth it for the preservation nature for 'em. Like I got a book report due on a game I was supposed to do like 2 weeks ago that I bought it, downloaded it, ain't played the bitch yet. So I probably need to like spend like 15 minutes playing a game I've beat 1,000 times to be like, yeah, I feel like oh shit. Yeah, you should probably buy when it's on sale. Which is usually what those videos devolve into anyway. So it's what it is. But regardless of that, we have got plenty of more show for you. So please, we ask you to sit back, relax, and stay tuned. The Queen, the GOAT. I am your Uncle Grandpa Triple. You are live right here on TGR TV. We've got more show for you right after these commercial messages. So please, come on back. Got more show. Trust me. We got what you need around here. So, oh, wait. I compounded everything into an outro. So now I should just maniacally laugh like a Saturday morning cartoon villain and shut the video down. Ah, okay. That's how I do this. From the top. The Queen Squeak K, the Ghost Whisperer, it's your Uncle Grandpa Triple. You live right here on TGRF TV, and we've got plenty of more show for amazing, awesome, and beautiful you. And we've got it right after these commercial messages. Ha, 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 ha. Mission accomplished. See you on the battlefield. More show after this.